information. How much time you give your employees off to work for nonprofits? And you're rated on this system, you're given a grade. And then also, here's another one, Co-op America, which is another certification for how we run our company. I've been saying this for a couple of years. This is what we have to do. You have a responsibility because you have what most people in this world don't have. You've got dollar bills. And the dollar bills drive this economy. How those dollar bills get spent determine what this economy looks like. We've got to change. Interesting thing, and get on my soapbox here, is that having the opportunity to know my grandparents, I made a presentation last week up at UNCG, and my mom came up. Mother is 78 years old. Dad's still alive. My wife and I don't have any kids, but we have friends. Kids of your age are in that ballpark. And I knew my grandparents very well. But what I've noticed in my life is that looking back at my grandparents, who I spent a lot of time with, and look at my parents and look at their relationships and relationships with my parents and myself and relationships of my friends and their kids, they're measuring success of how much stuff we got, money and consumption. And I'm here to say that we've got to decouple. That has nothing to do with that. We've got to basically, being happy and having a lot of stuff don't have anything to do with it. The model's got to change. You know, most people will tell you we're consuming more of the resources than this earth can supply. And, you know, as much as we want to raise everybody up out of poverty, which is great, if we up at the top of the heap don't want to step down a little bit, there's not enough stuff. We've got to change the model. But the model changes with us because we are, you hate to say it, the pigs at the trough. 5% of the world's population, 25% of the consumption, 25% of the energy. How do you want to slice or dice it? You know, we got to change the consumption matter. But what I think is important is just being aware. That's the first step of sustainability. Just be aware of what you're doing because I said earlier, I do a lot of stuff, TS Designs does a lot of stuff that is not sustainable. But if you're aware of it, then you start making things, you change in your personal life and your business life. Over the years, this has become our brand. Most people in the green market know us more by that than TS Designs. It's our clothing facts. I'll leave that up there as my contact information, email address, phone number. I've got business cards up here. But now it's a chance for you to ask questions or challenge me or what don't you understand? Well, now, nobody wouldn't sleep on me, so at least we got that part good. And not one person go to sleep today. Any questions? Oh, come on, folks. Yes, and the professor always asks this question.
I don't know how much you can share and how proprietary it is, but be willing to talk to us a little bit more about that process and how it works?
Yeah. Well, first of all, we think proprietary. I'm not going to give you the formulation for the Rehance technology. I'm not going to put it on a slide and write it down. But if you came to TS Designs, there's not one place that you want to go I wouldn't take you to. There's no secrets. And we feel like the trust between the business and the customer is so important today. So you can go anywhere you want to. But again, the way most T-shirts are made, pretty much all the T-shirts that are in here today, is they knit the fabric, then they dye the fabric, then they cut and sew the T-shirt, and then they come back and put the plastic prints on it. We do it just the opposite. We knit the fabric, but then we cut and sew the T-shirt so that the shirts are white or natural. So that's what we start off with. And then with this Rehance process that we developed, we print the T-shirt. And the way the Rehance work, again, I work with Sam Moore, who had his own company, recently sold that, and again, a graduate down here at State. We spent, and I didn't really get into that, there was that period of time right before we saw NAFTA coming, and we knew what was going to happen. We knew we were going to be low-cost producer. We had to have some competitive edge that we could compete in the marketplace, and that's we went, instead of moving our facility overseas or getting out, we probably between two companies spent somewhere between $200,000 and $300,000 developing it. And what we want to do is we needed a model that was, and again, this is right around the NAFTA time, but We wanted something that was more environmentally friendly because we thought that was important, and we wanted something that would give us a competitive edge, because what it does, when we print the Rehance technology and then you go dye it, what it does, it takes that area that's printed and just repels the dyes. The print that you see on my shirt here today, again, this was a white shirt. When this was printed, it was dyed this gray color, and this white that you see is not white. That's just absence of dye. So the dye could not penetrate that. So it just kind of reflected, bounced all, like, taking two ends of a magnet to kind of bounce apart. So that's what we did with Rehance. So that all you're seeing with the white there is actually the shirt. There's no print there. We thought it was, and again, you learn along the way, is if we had to stock a custom-made organic shirt, which I already told you is $4, very expensive shirt, in colors and size. We make short sleeves, long sleeves, men's, kids, ladies, I mean, a lot of different style. There's no way we could stock that kind of inventory. So what this allows us to do is stock the whiter natural t-shirts and then print to order and dye to order. And what we did is we took over used to contract it out, and we use old paddle dye equipment. It's more labor intensive, but we get the results that we want. And again, the equipment was very cheap because we bought it from a textile place that was going out of business. But we do minimal orders as small as 200 pieces or about 100 pounds. And that can be assorted sizes, assorted styles. But it gives us inventory flexibility, and it gives a better quality product, because in addition to, and again, we've all had t-shirts after time, the prints start cracking up. What it's doing is the phthalates that give the plasticizers the elasticity are washing off. Well, where do they go when they wash off? They go in the water. Well, somebody's drinking that water. You're seeing a lot of people getting concerned about phthalates, like even plastic bottles and stuff, and the long-term impact of ingesting those. Because the problem with phthalates, once they get in your system, they just stay there. And we don't know, they haven't been in our system long enough, but what's the 50-year impact of having phthalates in your body? So anyway, we don't have that issue with the phthalates or the PVC. And then by garment dyeing, we have a shirt that will never shrink. We've all bought t-shirts and they say pre-shrunk. Well, that's what they do. They do it mechanically in the knitting process. Well, by our garment dyeing process, which is about 3 hours, 140 degrees, there's no shrinkage. So when that customer tries on our product or gets our product, the size it is that day, the size will always be. So if the size changes, we'll just say it's not the shirt's fault. Did I go enough? And I said, you're always, give me a call. We've got a young man we just hired from Elon University that's in charge of education outreach. We want to share what we're doing, so we're constantly having people who want to do tours. So if you want to come up to TS Designs and see, we'll be happy to do that. We've got to have some other questions other than the professor back here.
Do you have customers?
Go ahead.
Do you have customers that won't give you the print business because they're looking for specialty inks, high density inks, which aren't available with PVC free inks?
You're right. We lose some business due to that. Your high density inks, your metallics, your glitters. Yeah, and we're fortunate now. I'll never forget, I got in a discussion, this was probably 3 or 4 years ago. I was talking to a group of MBA students down at Campbell University, not Campbell College. And when I was talking about our product, at that time, we were about 60% domestically made organic. And one of the students asked me, he says, well, how can you do that other business if you know how bad it is? And I said, well, if we don't stay in business, then we don't get to move on. So it was a matter of survival. So again, that was 3 years ago, that was like 60-some%. Now it's over 95%. So we're getting to the point where we can, and we're raising the bar. That 4 or 5% difference is we have the minimum bar when you come to TSI on the product. It either has to have a water-based print on it, it has to be made domestically, or it has to be organic cotton. So you could get an organic cotton made offshore with the plastisol print in that 5% range between our 95 and 100%. But it's got to be at least organic cotton, at least domestically made, or at least a water-based print. It's got to have one of those. What we're going to do when we go to 2009, we'll raise the bar again. It'll have to have 2 components. It either have to be organic and water-based, organic and domestic, or whatever the combination is. But it have to have 2 of those components there. Now, yes, sir.